My name is Bob Stewart. Thank you for joining me at ActiveRain University. Today we're going to talk about using market statistics and your blog to add prospects to your business. And I'm going to show you guys two ways that I believe, or two types of blog posts that I believe are very effective for educating, for engaging, and for ultimately connecting with more prospects for your business. You can see at the top of my slide there, you can find me on Twitter and Facebook at ActiveBob. A little bit later in the call, I'm going to have you give a shout out to me on Twitter, and maybe you might win something. Who knows? All right, let's get in here. So let's just start with why we're here. And on the screen right now, I have some statistics from one of our members on ActiveRain. His name is Russ Ravery, and these are statistics from his blog. And these are blog posts, and you can see a bunch of different blog posts on there over the course of almost the last 5 years. But what I really want to impress upon you guys, and we're going to see how we create posts like what Russ has done here. These types of posts can get an incredible amount of traffic, and we're talking about very targeted sorts of traffic, okay? Each of these posts is based on either a subdivision or a condo complex, or like you see Oxbow Lake waterfront homes. He's talking about specific homes in a specific area. These kinds of posts can get a ridiculous amount of traffic. And you'll see this is only 10 blog posts from Russ. Russ has written hundreds of posts of this nature, but just these 10 over the last couple of years have gotten him, on average, 43 clicks or views per post per month. And we're actually talking about clicks. 43 times every single month, each one of these blog posts on average gets loaded in somebody's browser out across the greater internet. So this is what we're shooting for, right? We want the types of posts in our blog to be the types of posts that people are interested in, they get engaged with, and they're actually finding when they go out to search for things in their marketplace. So this is why we're here, right? We want to be like Russ, not like Mike, right? We want to be like Russ. We'll come back at the end here, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of Russ's stuff. So market report blogs, there's actually going to be two types of blogs that we talk about today. These things bring interested clients, right? There's three main reasons why people go online as it relates to real estate. And it's not these three that I have on the slide right now. The three are to find information, to find listings, and to find home values. And information covers a lot, and that's where your blog can kind of be that missing piece, right? Because listings are out there in a lot of places, right? People go to sites like Zillow or realestate.com or House Values to find what my home is worth, but there's all sorts of things that people are looking for in their home search, especially as they decide where they want to live. So before they even say, okay, let's start looking at the listings, they're looking for information about where they want to live. They're researching to see how the market is performing. Sellers will go online to see, how are things going in my neighborhood or my subdivision. What are homes selling for? They're looking for a local expert, right? Somebody to make sure that they're making the right decision, to guide them through the process. But in the end, a lot of them end up wanting to know, okay, where are the listings, or what is the value of my home? So let's talk about how we can use these market reports or that other kind of blog. And you guys, if you've ever been on a call, like my SEO call, for instance, you'll recognize this other kind of blog that we'll talk about here in a second. This call is kind of loosely sponsored by Market Leader right there, our big brother. The stuff that I'm going to show you in here today is our screenshots and come from a website that's from Market Leader. As it relates to the statistics and the stuff that we're going to look at in this first set of this first template, there's other companies out there that offer products like this. Top Producer has one. I know the Mike Simonson and the guys at Altos Research have a really nice kind of market statistics product that Altos Research offers. Your guys' MLSs, in some cases, are going to offer these kind of glimpses into the market and provide you graphs and charts and these sorts of things. So, I'm going to use screenshots from Market Leader. We're going to look at a couple of their products and sites, but you guys, I don't want you to think I'm saying, hey, you have to use this, right? There's all sorts of things out there, all sorts of companies, some regional sorts of companies that offer these kinds of market statistics for you guys to be able to pull from to create blog posts. So today, we're going to talk about kind of two optimal ways to use either this Market Insider or any kind of market data like this to create blog posts. And the first one that we're going to talk about is either home price trends or market report blogs, or it's really the idea of a market report. So here is the template for what we believe is an effective way to share the market data that you might have. And that data comes in all sorts of different forms and fashions. In this case, we're going to do home prices in Redmond, Washington. And so you'll see on the left-hand side there, we've got these different boxes. And at the conclusion of the call, you guys will be given these templates. So you'll be able to take these templates, you'll be able to incorporate them into your blog, and hopefully we can show you that this stuff doesn't have to be super challenging, especially if you have a good tool like Altos Research or Top Producer or Market Insider. So we're going to start at the top, right? We're going to have a title for our blog post, and it's going to be based on the type of report, right, the geography or the area that we're talking about, and the date, right? Because these kinds of posts, these market report or market statistics, these kinds of posts very much have a shelf life, let's say. Okay, so we're talking about a certain time frame. That might be a certain month. It might be a quarter. I mean, for some of you guys, you may even do these things for the entire year, so you're looking back at a year in the past. These are the kind of things we'll see people doing in January and February, where they're looking back at the market and letting people know, here's what's gone on in the last year. So we're going to have a title for our post. Now, if you've taken my SEO class, we know we're always going to restate that title, and that's from a search engine optimization perspective. It makes us get that page description in there, so we restate the title at the start of the post, and then just give it some kind of an introduction. A lot of you guys, like if you're in California, for instance, you have to have your DRE number, or when you're doing marketing, some of you guys, I think state licensing laws will say you have to have the name of your brokerage in there, and that stuff shows up on your, maybe on the side of your blog or something, but go ahead and give it an introduction, right? What is this about? Where is it? Who are you? And then what's your company? Now, I did this class a couple of days ago for a different audience, and one of the guy who kind of keeps me in line, and I pity him because it's not an easy job for him, but he said, I had this slide up for a long time, and he said, you know what, try to break the slide up, maybe, because people get they get bored of just looking at the same slide. So I'm going to give you guys dancing elephants, because I don't know what else makes me more happy than a dancing elephant. Let's go back to the slide, okay? So the next little piece that we have in here is going to be that portion in red. And this is your analysis. And for any kind of a market report that you do, any kind of statistics that you're drawing from, this red portion, your analysis, is by far the most important piece of this sort of a blog post. And I can't tell you how to analyze the statistics in your market, okay? Hopefully, the longer you're doing this, the more you understand what days on market means, and the differences between high amounts of inventory, low amounts of inventory, and pricing trends. And this is information that you guys as the professionals are able to share with interested consumers. This analysis right here is by far the most important piece of something like this, because it doesn't matter how pretty your charts and your graphs are or what kind of statistics you put at them. The average consumer who lands there has no understanding of what these things mean, okay? They just don't understand. And so your analysis as the professional, this is the place where you are able to demonstrate to them that you are the person most qualified to handle their, the biggest financial transaction of their lives in most cases. Okay, so this analysis in here, I cannot stress enough how important this component of a market report is. Okay, so we're going to go down. Our next little piece, we've got a chart, right? Some kind of a chart. And the tools that I talked about, Altos Research, Top Producer, Market Insider from Market Leader, you guys have these charts, or some of you do anyway, available from your MLS. This is going to be kind of that piece that when they land there kind of draws their attention. And again, most people aren't going to understand what the chart means. That's why you have the analysis above the chart. You're telling them, hey, the stuff you're about to see right here, this is what it means, okay? But it gives them just kind of that idea that, okay, this is, there's some analysis going on here. There's a chart. People like to see these kind of visual representations of what you're telling them, even if they don't understand necessarily what that visual representation means. Again, that's why we give them the analysis. Okay? Down below that, we're going to have some market report data. All right, break it up. You've been looking at that slide for too long. Okay, so if you guys are on Twitter right now, I'm going to give a T-shirt away. We got these cool little Let It Rain, ActiveRain T-shirts. I want you to tweet something about your expertise being the most important thing to add to market reports. Hashtag it ActiveRain, add ActiveBob on there, and I'll go through at the end here and pick one person. Isn't that the cutest little picture you've ever seen? That thing looks just like one of my college roommates' son. I swear that might be him. Logan Canavelsrud. Is that him? I don't know. All right, so let's look at this bottom portion right here, right? We've got the market report data. This is from Market Insider at a top producer, Altos Research. This is automated or auto-generated data that you can grab. And from Market Insider, the market leader product, that data is something we can just copy and paste, okay? The median list price, the price per square foot, the median sales price, right? But again, these are statistics. You got to give me 1 second here. These are statistics that, and to close that, or you guys' tweets are going to blow my ear out. These statistics are, again, things that, the analytical mind, right, the engineer type, like they may be able to understand what these things mean, especially if you make comparisons of them, or they've been following along with your market reports, and they can see that the days on market's gone from 150 down to 100 over the course of the last 3 months. That might indicate that the market's getting a little bit more aggressive and buyers are entering at a higher frequency, right? But the average person is just not going to be able to look at these stats and pull anything from them. But we put them in there because there are those analytical minds out there, the people that might want to take the statistics and make their own conclusions from them, right? The cynics, the people that say, well, your flowery conclusion, whatever. Let me look at the data and see what I can determine from this data myself. So that's why we give them kind of these, this is auto-generated market report data. Okay, it's days on market, it's median list price, it's median sales price, price per square foot, these types of things that, you looking at can draw conclusions from and share those, and you're going to do that up above in the post, right? But if somebody wants to draw their own conclusions from it, we give them this auto-generated data that any of these types of systems that we have for our business can provide. The next little piece there is the lead gen image, and we'll talk about calls to action here towards the end, but this idea that not everybody is going to be compelled to take action, like compelled to pick the phone up and call you, right? They're not all going to be compelled to click on a link to head off to your website, unless we make it some kind of an image call to action. And this is just another way to kind of let the person who's consuming the content know, hey, there's something happening here that you can do. And that pick your future neighbors, right, that little orange and yellow box, we'll give you guys a set of 3 of these types of, I don't want to call them widgets, but they're essentially image calls to action that you guys can use in your blog posts, in the future. That final call to action, that little piece down at the bottom, what we're going to do, because if we remember, people are looking for information, they're looking for listings, and they're looking for home values. What we're going to do then is at the end of our posts, always, right, we need to have some kind of a call to action that allows them to either find the listings or get the value of their home. And so I always encourage you at the end of a post of this nature, give them a chance to go out there. If we're talking about a market report for Redmond, Washington, point them to listings in Redmond, Washington. Give them some kind of an opportunity, and in this case it's a phone number and an email. You might have a form where they can add their address to get a CMA or something of that nature. Make sure you have that final call to action in there. All right. The next type of the next piece of content that we can create, and I will beat you over the head with this until I can't talk anymore. I was on a phone call yesterday with the guy Tom Branch, and he's an agent down in Dallas, a longtime ActiveRain member. He told me one post of this nature last week got him a call from from a developer who wanted him to sell a bunch of unsold units in his subdivision because he had written about that subdivision. A lady last week wrote a post about one post like this has added $17,000 to her bottom line this year. These are the kinds of posts that really find us that next client. The most effective, I believe, type of blog post that you can write. We're going to write about a hyperlocal subdivision or condo complex. Okay, we're going to write about some very particular area in our marketplace. And how are we going to do that? The first thing I want you guys to realize about a post of this nature is it is timeless. And so when we look back, if we think back to when we saw all those posts from Russ up there and how many clicks they were getting, if you can create a post like that that's timeless so that a year from now when somebody finds it, it still has good relevant information for them, that's what you should be aiming for when you write a post of this nature. Okay? So, how do we write it? Well, we're going to give it a title, and in this case, I'm writing about the Deer Creek subdivision in Seattle, Washington. I actually made this subdivision up. This place does not exist. But you guys all have these kinds of places. It might read the Bravern condos in Seattle, Washington. Okay, so it's a subdivision, it's a condo complex. We're going to restate the title. We do that based on what we've learned in our SEO class, hopefully in the past. Okay, we know that that becomes a part of the page description. It's one of the things that Google shows in its little result. The first piece, we're going to give a flowery description of why people like the community. Okay, Chris and I, before we put this call together last week, we're talking, you know, this is something, if you're listing a home in a subdivision, you absolutely should write something like this. You probably should have written about something like this before so that you went in and did the listing. You can sit down and show the person that when they search for their subdivision or their community that you show up. But if you haven't done it, take an opportunity. Every time you take a listing somewhere in a condo building, every time you take a listing in a subdivision, you should be creating a post of this nature. But that first section, a flowery description of why people like the community. Then we're going to get the neighborhood photo in there, right? It doesn't need to be a ton of photos of the neighborhood, right? We're just kind of writing this timeless post. Give them one picture. Make sure that we add the proper metadata to it, right? Photo description and title. We talk about that in the SEO class. The next piece is super, super important, okay? Looking for a home. We're going to give them a link to our IDX website. And the reason we do this is because, again, there's three pieces of things that they're looking for. Information. Now, this post will serve to give them the information about that subdivision or that condo complex they might be interested in. But if they really just wanted the listings, they really just wanted to see what was for sale in that area, we need to make sure we have a link to our IDX that allows us to potentially capture that person as a prospect, especially if they're some time away from buying, right? I mean, our ultimate goal would be to get them to pick the phone up and call us. But if they're not going to do that, we absolutely have to have this piece in there. It's so important. I can't even stress it enough. So let me show you what that would look like. And again, this is a market leader website. You guys, hopefully your website operates in a fashion like this. If it doesn't, okay, there's other companies out there that have sites that work like this. But now I made up Deer Creek in Seattle, Washington. But I used to live in a little subdivision called Carriagewood in Renton, Washington. Okay. So if I was writing about Carriagewood in Renton, Washington, the Carriagewood subdivision in Renton, Washington, the link that I would want to include in there would not just be a link where somebody could come in here and search for properties. It wouldn't just be a link where they could find homes in all of Renton. It would actually be a link where they could find homes just in the Carriagewood subdivision. If we were actually to perform this search right here, what we're going to find is that there are 5 houses that are available right now, today, in Carriagewood, Renton. These are the 5. One of them is a foreclosure, one of them is a short sale, and there's 3 just regular listings out there. Okay? This is the place that I would send that consumer. I want to get them to the information they wanted as fast as possible with as few clicks as possible. Okay? This is the page. And so I would just take this URL right here, I would paste it or I would copy it, and that would be what I created, that link right there for looking for a home in Deer Creek, interested in homes for sale in Deer Creek. That first link that I have, that first call to action that I have in my blog post, right? This is a template. This is a formula. Every single time I write about one of these, I am going to give them a chance to go back and find the properties in that area. Dancing elephant. I don't want you to get bored looking at that slide, right? I hope Chris is cringing back there. He told me to break it up a little bit better than that, I'm sure, but I just like dancing elephants. What can I say? All right. let's get back here. The next little piece, or the next two sections, okay? Neighborhood info and community info. So neighborhood info, what I'm talking about is what's going on in that subdivision, okay? Is there a homeowners association? How much do those cost? How can I get a hold of the homeowners association? What do they cover? Who's the builder? What styles of homes are in there, right? We want to make sure that we give them that good information that they want. So we let them know what it was like to live there. Now we're going to say, here's really what it's like, right? Here's the homeowners information. Here's the, here's the stuff that happens in this subdivision, okay? The next piece is going to be that community info, and that's going to include what's nearby. It's close to certain freeways and transportation. It's close to certain, major employers. It's close to the mall. It's close to the movie theaters. Right? We're going to let them know what's going on around there. Well, what can you expect? Where do you go out to the movies? Where's the theater at? What kind of fun stuff is happening in this area? All right. I guess I already went to where do we link. That slide's in the wrong spot. Okay. Next piece, schools. Okay. A lot of folks that are moving somewhere. They're interested in what kind of schools are around. Both of these community info and schools, if you had a Market Insider site, right, there's links back where you can send them to look at and get the school data, right? There's links back where we can send them to get the community reports from our website. So if you have something like that, you want to make sure that you're taking an opportunity to push people back to those places. So where do we link? Well, again, we're linking back to those pages, right? In this case, this is our link for the IDX search that's up near the top. But if we are linking back to like a schools report, we might come in here and link them to the, ooh, look at that. It's going to try to get me to be a prospect. Oh, am I going to be locked out here? Let me log in so we can get past that. So Market Insider, here I am, local schools, right? I'm going to link back when I'm talking about local schools to, I think it was 98058. That is for, yeah, Canton Renton schools. That's where I went to school, right? So it gives them the school reports, and they can come in here and check that stuff out. If they wanted to get the community information about this particular area, whatever it is. And again, Top Producer has these kind of options available. Hopefully your website, or you're working with somebody where you can have these other kind of hooks in there, where if somebody's looking for that information about the schools or the community or whatever it is, we can get them back to our website and potentially capture them as a prospect. Number two, who else wants to win a t-shirt? This one's a little bit more challenging. I want you to tweet a picture of you watching my webinar, right? If you're in your pajamas and you're posted up in bed still, fine, whatever. I'll send a t-shirt out to somebody who's brave enough to tweet a picture of themselves watching my webinar. You got to send it to @ActiveBob, and you got to give it a hashtag #RainCam. Lead capture image, right? Again, we've got these images. We're going to give you guys these images. You can create your own images of these nature. If you're anything like me, you couldn't create one like that. That one was professionally done. I don't have the capacity to do that. We're going to give them to you guys, okay? There's 3 of them. They talk about certain different things. They've got different kind of calls to action in them. You can use them however you want. But again, we put that lead capture image in there because it's going to draw people's attention to it. It's going to let them know, hey, there's more information on the other side of this thing should you decide to visit my website. And then that final call to action. And again, that final call to action is going to tie into whatever it is that we're writing about. So in this case, we're writing about the Deer Creek subdivision. We're going to make sure that we have that final piece, that final paragraph that says, look, I just gave you the great information, okay? If you're interested in finding the actual houses that are for sale, this is where you go. And where is that going to be? It's going to be that exact landing page on our website because we want to take all the mystery out of it. We don't want them landing on our site and going, oh, where do I click? Where's the search bar? I don't know what's going on here, right? We want them right on the listings. We want them clicking listings and eventually having our IDX try to capture them as a potential prospect for our business. People search this stuff, you guys. If you've been in my SEO class, I show you these kind of statistics as we look at neighborhoods and subdivisions and condo complexes. This is 30 days. This is a 30-day look at people that were looking for information about the nature trail, subdivision in Pensacola, Florida. But look at all the other ways they search for it. Lines 3 and 4 right there. People looking for Nature Trail, Pensacola lots for sale. There was 5 of them, of which 60% were new. So 3 brand new people in the last 30 days wanted very specific information about the lots for sale in Nature Trail, Pensacola. 4, of which 75% were new. So 3 brand new visitors in the last 30 days wanted to find homes for sale in a certain subdivision. My goodness. If you don't want those people on your site, I'm sure that the person sitting in the cube at your office next to you does. Right? These kinds of posts, the neighborhoods, the subdivisions, those are the kinds of posts that can really, and they can change your business. Tom Branch literally told me yesterday, he's like, this has changed my business. Like, I would have never before gotten a call from a developer that said, I want you to come list 12 homes in the subdivision that we can't finish selling. Right? Because he'd gone out, he'd written about that subdivision. The guy knows that Tom knows his stuff. Right? It's more common you're just going to get a consumer who wants to buy 1 house, not a developer who wants you to sell 12. But people are looking for information like this. You have to be the one providing it. Zillow can't provide this. Trulia can't provide this. Right? They can provide information about homes for sale in Seattle, the search somebody does when they're 8 months away from buying. But these people, the guy that knows he wants to buy a Nature Trail Pensacola home for sale, he's buying much sooner than somebody that's just looking for homes for sale in Pensacola. And then, they search for it and they find it. And again, we're going to bring you back to Russ. Here he is, right? These are all subdivisions. Some of them are market reports, condo complexes, right? He's writing about these things because he realizes that the cumulative effort of doing that, it's not just one post about one subdivision, it's this cumulative effort. This is just 10 of his posts. He's written hundreds of posts like this. I mean, he is getting thousands of clicks a month on these types of posts, and there are people that are so close, so much closer, I should say, to actually buying something, right? Somebody that knows that they want to live in Hidden Lake Estates in Green Oak Township, right? They're a lot closer to buying something than the guy that goes, homes for sale in Novi. If you write it, they will come, but we don't want to wait for them. Okay, so here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to just write your blog posts, especially as it relates to the market report ones, because those ones are time sensitive, right? The subdivisions and the condo complexes, those are timeless. So 2 years from now, we can still be getting traffic and still be, serving up relevant information to the person doing the search. But if we're talking about market reports, we don't want to just sit on our hands, wait for traffic from Google, right? Hopefully it becomes a website visitor and then a prospect. We need to do something a little bit more aggressive maybe to get those market reports out there. So what are some of the things we can do? Well, we can send them off to, we can put them on our Facebook pages, right? We can tweet them out. There's one in there, it's the second one from the bottom in the purple on the left, email to prospects. I had a conversation with the guy. The very first bar camp, the RE bar camp they had in Seattle, was hosted at Zillow's headquarters, and I was talking with, I think it was Michael. He's an ActiveRain agent ActiveRain member out of Bellingham, Washington. I asked him, "What do you do with your post when you're done with it?" And he kind of looked at me funny, and I said, "Do you just sit back and wait for people to find it on the search engines?" And he was like, "Yeah, pretty much." And I said, "Do you ever take your post and actually send it out to somebody that you think it might affect? Like if you'd written about a particular condo complex and you knew that you had a buyer who was looking for condos in Bellingham and they were in they were in a certain price point, would you consider taking that post that you'd written about how awesome it is to live in this condo complex and how many awesome amenities are around and what the homeowner association provides for them and actually send that to the prospect?" These types of posts are really good to kind of demonstrate your expertise, right? So if you have prospects, and maybe they're people you've never talked to, right? They were a lead on your website, they're sitting there, you've been diligently trying to get a hold of them. Every once a week you send out an email. What kind of stuff are you sending out? It says, "Oh, here's Thanksgiving's coming up. Here's some tips on putting up your Christmas lights," or what. Send them something that might actually be of value to them. Let them know, here's you were looking at homes in Renton. Here's a market report for what's going on in Renton right now. Man, there's some great deals out there. Take a look at my analysis of the market, right? So actually pushing these things out is good, okay? We're not just going to sit back. Now we're going to get traffic especially if we do these right, if we've taken our SEO class, if we're writing these types of subdivision and condo complex posts, we're going to get organic traffic, okay? But maybe we get some shares in there. Maybe we get our prospects forwarding the email off to a friend. Hey, man, look at this condo complex. I know you guys were looking. This thing looks great, right? What this will also serve to do is the more traffic we can send to our posts, the more time that people spend on our posts, the more that will help our organic results. Because Google's looking at all kinds of signals, and one of those signals is this post being found by other, is it being directly accessed other ways? And if it is, that would be an indication that's a pretty good piece of content. Are people spending a bunch of time on this post? Are they consuming it? That would be a good indication that it's a good piece of content, and that will help prop up our organic results, right? All pushing them to that blog, right? All pushing them back to our website via either their ability to search for homes in the IDX, or them wanting additional reports, them wanting school information, community information, and hopefully that becomes a prospect or a lead for our business. Calls to action. I'm going to finish with a couple of different calls to action. Links. Right? We do a whole class at ActiveRain University, and in fact, 2 weeks from yesterday, we will have our link class again live. You can watch these classes on our YouTube channel. Carrie will throw up in the chat box our YouTube channel, so if you want to go back, if I keep saying SEO class, if you've never watched that, do it, okay? The links class we have coming up in 2 weeks, you can go back. But you want to have these good links in there, and they need to go to very specific places, and hopefully on the other side of those links is an ability for you to capture leads. These image calls to action. We have a post up at ActiveRain University. Carrie, if you get the link for that, you can go to activeраinuniversity.com. It's on there. You can download these image calls to action. Use them however you want, okay? Use them in your blogs. And then contact info, because, the golden result would be somebody finds your post, they read it, they're so convinced you're an expert based on the analysis you've given, and it's just the time for them to sell that they pick the phone up and call you. So you want to make sure that you finish your blog post, you have a signature line that includes all of the relevant ways that somebody can get a hold of you and all of the relevant ways that somebody could connect with you through your social networks. And maybe Chris will send you guys out a blog or a link to a post that tells you how you can create these really awesome signatures in your blog post. Okay, so I told you I was going to go 30 minutes. I'm obviously long-winded. Let's see if anybody has some questions. I can't, listen, as they pull up the questions here,